glad we're in Anderson County. I love Anderson County. This is where I've raised my family. My parents raised me. We moved here from Texas when I was about 10 years old. We've been here ever since, and it's just a great place to be. I'm thankful that we have a community that supports law enforcement. We certainly feel that at the Sheriff's Office. I'm sure our cities and municipalities feel the same way. It's great being in a place that loves and supports their law enforcement, because it is not like that. Not even everywhere in the state, unfortunately. We're at the top of the list as far as retention and staffing numbers. That includes the detention center. My biggest goal coming in was to reduce property crimes, specifically burglaries and narcotics, and fight the war on drugs here in Anderson. Anderson, I guess there's pros and cons to it, but we have 37.5 miles of Interstate 85 in Anderson County. 85 is the drug corridor now for the United States, because Atlanta has taken over where Miami used to be as the drug hub of the United States. So we're very close to Atlanta, and obviously we have more interstate than any other county in South Carolina, so drugs coming in and out. And so we were committed to that. I brought Ross in. He changed the way we do narcotics and everything else. We've been very aggressive. Our budget's about $40 million a year. $40 million sounds like a lot of money, but when you have almost 500 employees, you can imagine the greatest percentage of that, of course, is your personnel costs. We do run a tight ship. We have certainly changed a lot of how the Sheriff's Office spends your tax dollars, which is important for you to know how we spend those tax dollars. We do a Citizens Academy every semester. We would love for y'all to be a part of that. If it's something that you can do, it's 10 weeks, one evening a week. You spend about 2 hours with us. You get to see how your tax dollars are being spent. Robberies in Anderson County are down 39.1%. We're super excited about that. What we're probably most excited about, in the last 6 years, we've gone down 54% in burglaries. Larcenies are down 23%. Motor vehicle thefts are down 10.3%. Keep in mind it's about to be cold season, so when you crank up your car and leave it running to heat it up, if you have the ability to lock it while it's doing that, please do that. All relatable theft or property crimes are down over 30%.
You should be proud of your community leaders on county council, at least, and the county administration, because we have worked very hard to establish a very tight relationship with our county counterparts, and they have done a wonderful job funding our needs. You know, what we do is we go down and talk with them on an equal level and say, hey, you know, we need this and this is why, and they went above and beyond to provide these things for us. Most people, when I talk around to standard people in the community, they don't understand how big of an operation the Sheriff's Office is, 525 employees. I think we've done a really, really good job with retention for the most part. I hope that shows when you interact with the deputies in the community. I normally get positive comments from people that our deputies are very polite and professional, and that's the deputies that we're trying to hire.
We came in office January 2nd, 2017. Starting pay was $31,000 at the Sheriff's Office. Meanwhile, Pickens County right above us was at $37,000 starting pay. And so we've been able to increase pay every single year that we've been in so far, and our staff has received, basically, if they've been with us 6 years now, almost, they have received 6 pay adjustments, pay raises. And so starting pay today, thank you to County Council, after Highway Patrol went up and Greenville County went up to $48.49. We're at $48.1. So $48,100 non-city. I think we're at a very competitive place. There are a few agencies that pay a little bit more than us, and that's okay, because I can give them a better home, and you guys as a community can give them a better community. We got smart with our equipment. In times past, we basically growing up at the Sheriff's Office, because we both have since we were 21 years old. You would have this huge budget every so often, and you would buy all your cars, and you'd buy all your vests, and you'd buy, just all your equipment at one time. Well, the problem with that is that stuff times out. It's got a shelf life, and it all times out about the same time. A bulletproof vest expires after 5 years, right? So if you buy all of them at one time, guess what? In 5 years, you have to buy 325 more. Basically, our stuff, especially with the 5-year shelf life, we're buying things at 20% every year. So we're replacing 1/5 of it every single year. So that way, when we get to year 5, we're starting kind of a new rotation. We're doing that with vehicles too, and that just seems to be the smart way to do things so you don't have to replace your whole fleet at one time. Because imagine having to replace 200 cars at one time, it just doesn't make sense. One thing I did when I came in is we put a lot more deputies on the road, and our budget hasn't really increased tremendously. The county council has been good to us. So anybody that has not, if you would like to see the jail, you need to come see it soon, because in about 3 years, we're going to have a new one, which, praise the Lord for that. We've landed on the architect firm. The county's entered a deal with them, so that's and I can tell you that's very much needed. And it's not going to be a Holiday Inn or anything like that. You hear some of the folks say, we don't need a Holiday Inn for our inmates. Well, I understand that. That's not what they're getting. Getting the exact same thing they're getting now. It's just newer concrete. Okay? And it'll smell a little better. But we need space. We need space. We started the GED program in our jail. I have about 6 right now that are going through the GED program. We've graduated about 12 so far. About half of them have pursued post-education. They've gone to Tri-County Tech or a technical college somewhere and received electrical training or whatever, and they've been very successful. We bring in ministry opportunities. Hopefully, new jail is going to give us the ability to bring in more education opportunities, maybe even some particular companies that are desperate need of people. Like we have some local asphalt and concrete companies that can come in and actually do some training, perhaps in a day room or a training area. So when they get out, they instantly have a job and can be productive. Because that's what happens. They get out, the recidivism happens when they get out, they have nowhere to go, and they go back to the same crowd they got in trouble to begin with. The Sheriff's Office has never been really a traffic enforcement agency. That's always been highway patrol for us within the county limits. I know the city does that, our municipalities, but the Sheriff's Office has just never really been known as a traffic type agency. You can get pulled over by a deputy, make no mistake, and I may even pull you over, but we're going to start, we just started a 2-man traffic enforcement team. Highway patrol is hurting for people, and if you don't see the highway patrolmen like you used to, and when you do see them, it's usually because they're having to work an accident. And there's so many wrecks now, it's crazy because people just aren't paying attention. They're paying attention to their phones and everything else. So that's where all your highway patrolmen are tied up, is working wrecks. So there is hardly any enforcement going on. So we have a 2-man team we're starting out with. We'll see how it goes this next year. And but they're going to be doing DUIs, speed enforcement, and all that. So if you live within the county limits and you have a specific traffic complaint, send us those. We'll send those guys to work those complaints. Anderson County is also very unique because we have probably the best training facility in the state. And we work very hard because that's been an area that we've noticed has been lacking for years. And so we've invested a lot of time and money and staff into our training division. The simulator we just purchased about 1.5 years ago, that was to the tune of probably about $260,000. And not a dime of your tax dollars paid for that, by the way. It was all drug dealing money. It's an amazing training tool. It has over 65,000 scenarios that we can run officers through. We can even run our detention officers through it. And it's amazing. And it's so realistic. Technology is just amazing. So we built this crisis house. It's got catwalks above it so our instructors can watch deputies as they interact with a real suspect. We want our community to see this and go through it. We also have a very, very great women's safety course. Sign up for those. I think the women's safety seminar is about 2 hours, and I promise you you'll love it. And so we have a very good instructor that does that. We have a couple of lady detectives that also are part of that instruction.
We're getting a wellness program off the ground for our officers, both physical and mental wellness, and counseling, as well as opportunities. We have a gym at our new facility. So that stuff's starting to come in, so we're very proud of that. We're blessed here, and I appreciate that. Not everybody has that, and I think we sometimes, I know I did at least, took it for granted, and that's just because I grew up here, and I know how the people are here. This is a special place, and if you work in an area where people appreciate you, it makes it a lot easier, and it makes you want to do a good job for them.
When I came in, Anderson County Sheriff's Foundation, we've had a foundation, David Crenshaw actually started that when he was sheriff, if y'all remember David. We've been able to really expand upon that and raise money for, and basically it's to take care of our folks, our employees at the sheriff's office. I think when I came in, we had about 16,000 or so in the bank, and I think we're over 200,000 now in the bank. And we're not hoarding that money, we actually give it out. But we've had employees that have had a kid that's very sick with some pretty serious issue or something like that, and then hot water heater busts, and then it floods the house, and then floors got to be replaced. And so what we do, we come in and we say, you need to worry about what's important. You worry about your child. We've got this. And that's where we try to help our folks. We also do tuition reimbursement and scholarships because we certainly encourage education and furthering your education. And we've been able to give back to a lot of our other community programs and our 501c3s here in Anderson. And I know, we've been able to give some money to Meals on Wheels and AIM and some of the other great organizations. We also have a Sheriff's Beard Foundation. So you don't see a lot of law enforcement officers with beards. I think that may help with retention too. The employees pay a small, trivial amount every month, and it goes towards the Beard Foundation. We actually give that back out to our community partners and 501c3s and stuff like that. We've actually given out about $30,000. We're going to have the first annual New Year's Eve gala, and it's going to be at the Blakely Station. And one thing that Anderson has not had, I think there's been some small ones here and there, but there's never been really a big New Year's Eve, party, bash, whatever you want to call it. So this is not us at the Sheriff's Office putting on. I have a civilian board that directs the Sheriff's Foundation, and I have some great people that serve on our board, but they wanted to take it to the next level. This is going to be a big fundraiser for the Sheriff's Foundation, but it's going to be catered by Sullivan's. They're going to handle the drinks, the food, all that. It's going to be a band, a DJ, in between band sets. And of course, it should be a very fun event downtown Anderson. I'm super stoked about it and can't wait to participate.
You won't find a better sheriff in the United States than our sheriff and really his team, so give them a round of applause.